Hello, everyone. So I'm here from Cedars-Sinai. We're a healthcare organization in Los Angeles. I see we're in a hurry here. So we have a couple slides that marketing makes me put in. Just overview of the health system. One large hospital, 850 beds, a couple small community hospitals, research institute, and a number of urgent care clinics and primary clinics scattered across basically the west side of LA and into the South Bay, as you can see here. So the main other organizations in our area are UCLA, Providence, Memorial Care, and Kaiser. We're in a kind of an interesting situation. Nearly all of the large organizations in our area are on the Epic EMR like we are. So it makes health information exchange extremely easy between Epic sites. It's practically frictionless. So once we got that out of the way, we started to concentrate on putting more data in the hands of patients, patient empowerment, I guess you could say. And we started working with FHIR at the end of 2016. So up to that point, we were on an earlier Epic version that didn't support FHIR. When we put Epic version 2015 of Epic in, we were able to implement the FHIR services and start playing with them. We got them into production in February of this year. And since then, we've been tinkering with them in a lot of different ways, I guess. We've participated in a lot of public demos. We're using it internally for application development, and we've used it quite a bit with companies in our healthcare IT accelerator that we run, which I'll talk about a little bit more. So currently, I should note that the Epic published FHIR services, the standard ones out of the box, I'm sorry, that can't be good, are a subset of STU2, and they're all read-only. And the next version, which we will be implementing next year, there are some read-write services and a more complete set of services. So one thing I did want to do while I'm here is put in a plug for the Carin Alliance. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Carin Alliance. It's a multi-sector alliance. It's got healthcare organization, it's got software vendors, it's got various NGOs, like even organizations like the AMA, various advocacy groups, and it's very focused on consumer-directed exchange of healthcare information. So if you are interested in that, I put their website up there. We found it super useful to kind of have some insight into what's going on in the policy realm, and also just to network it with other organizations that are using FHIR services in various ways. So I want to talk for a couple minutes about the accelerator because it's an interesting use case for FHIR. We are partnering with a company called Techstars to do a healthcare IT accelerator. Twice a year, we pick 10 companies from about 400 to 500 applicants to be in a 90-day cycle of the accelerator where they come on site. They work with clinicians and business owners and our IT people to refine their product or get it from the wireframe stage into something that's actually usable, and sometimes to pilot their product actually within our organization. About a third of the companies so far have stayed on in some kind of long-term relationship with us. So it's been fairly successful, I'd say. It's very diverse. It's everything from hardware companies one of them was a fiber optic laryngoscope that had a wireless connection, so you could watch the image on a laptop for paramedics and other first responders, everything up to various kinds of care management solutions and various kinds of texting solutions. One of them is a AI solution for mining the EMR data for cohort selection and so on. So it's super diverse. This just gives you an idea of the companies that have been in the accelerator so far. Right now, currently, we have 10 companies, I think, in the third cohort, and 6 of them are actually using FHIR services to integrate their product with the EMR. So the reason we've kind of focused on FHIR with the accelerator is that a lot of them have no background in healthcare at all. They have an idea and some smarts, but really not a lot of practical experience. Trying to get them up the learning curve with the more conventional integration tools or even Epic's proprietary web services in 90 days is really tough. HL7 is almost impossible unless they've used HL7 before. So we found that the FHIR services, with some sort of mediation by our own integration team, has really helped them get off the ground and have something to show quickly. So now I want to talk about a couple places where we have extended our patient portal app with FHIR services. Let's see, okay. The bulk of our patient portal app is actually the Epic standard MyChart app. They supply libraries to us, which we then link into our own application. So the functionality is primarily Epic's, but we wrap other things around it, a custom shell, and some additional functionality. So I'm going to kind of zip through these slides because I have a live video of it that I'm hoping is going to work at the end. But the basic idea here is we added a piece of functionality to the patient portal app, which allows the user to download their medical record, the Epic summary document, as a CCDA, and then push it into the Apple Health app. So it turns out the Apple Health app, through the HealthKit API, can receive and send and store securely CCDA documents, among other things. It's not a widely known feature, but it's there. So if the user clicks this or touches this download my records button, they go to another screen where they have to confirm what they want to do. Then it will actually pull the CCDA document from Epic using the FHIR service, the document reference service, and then push it through the HealthKit API into the Apple Health app. And once they get in the Apple Health app, there's a health records section there where they can go in, look at all the different records that they've imported. They could have imported them from multiple organizations potentially. And then they can view it. Apple has actually done a nice job of kind of parsing the document and putting hot links to the different sections. And they can also, let's see, they also have sort of the standard iOS send to functionality where they can actually send the document or save it to their cloud drive or, pretty much do anything they want with it. More recently, we built a similar piece of functionality where we pull the CCDA document, but then instead of storing it locally, we let the user actually search a national directory of direct message addresses and then send the document to the direct address. So I'll come back to this in the video, which I hopefully will work on this computer. The patient can attach a little note saying, please let me know that you got this or whatever, since delivery isn't really foolproof with direct messaging. It may go to a secure portal somewhere, but that doesn't mean the physician actually saw it. The last thing I want to show is software development isn't our core business, but we do have an R&D team and a small application development team, which kind of focuses on, for the most part, boutique apps that kind of do things we need that Epic doesn't do or can't do. So we have an enterprise deployment of Epic if we pretty much implemented every module they've thought up. But there are still areas where either there isn't another vendor product that we can integrate or something that Epic doesn't do and we need to build our own apps. We also wanted to give the accelerator companies a little better starting point for their work. So what we've done is we've implemented 2 kind of very vanilla patient-facing FHIR-based apps. that are not fancy. They're not meant to be commercial grade. They're just meant to be a practical demonstration of how to use the Epic and OAuth services, and something that people can build on. So we're planning to make these open source, put them somewhere that people can download it, and if people find it useful, great. All of you are well beyond this point, but many of the people we come in contact with in the accelerator have never heard of FHIR and don't know where to start. So it's a very simple app. You can choose in the default case, we actually point the app to the Epic FHIR sandbox. I'll show you that in a minute. But you can actually go into the settings for the app and point it to any Epic endpoint that you want, any FHIR and OAuth endpoint that you want. Of course, once you go to log in, you're seeing the OAuth pages of that endpoint, not of the app. But once you get past in this particular case, the login page is actually coming from the Epic sandbox. But then you go to some very simple display screens where we got you look at the patient's allergies, procedures, problem lists, medications, labs, and so on. So it's currently read-only. It's kind of a subset of what our usual patient portal app does, but it's just meant to be kind of a springboard for people to build fancier things on top of. This is a shot of the settings screen. So you can actually go into the settings screen and slide that little radio or little toggle switch over to custom server and then put any endpoint you want. Or we also have built into the app a list of the production FHIR endpoints that we know about, and you can just pick one of those if you happen to have an account in one of those organizations. So now let's see if this actually works. Okay, I guess that's all right. Am I moving dangerously here?
You sure are, but we got it, I think.
Okay.
But we don't have sound.
There isn't any.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
fine.
I think we're rolling.
Yeah, this is, I don't know if it's actually going though.
Oh, click it again. Let's see. There you go.
Okay. So all this is basically a video capture from my iPhone to show this functionality live, which is a little easier. I would have done it actually live, except you never know what the network's going to do when you want to do that. So I thought it was safer to capture a video. But this shows you the workflow and kind of what's involved. This is actually my record, but there's nothing in it except a bunch of TB tests for the hospital, so I'm not too worried about the PHI piece of it. So in this case, I decided I would just send it to my Google Drive. You can see it turns the XML record into a PDF, and then you can upload it. So this part here is all standard Apple functionality. That part we didn't do anything except send the CCDA there. This is a quick example of the Send My Records functionality. So the user's going to, the user, which is me, is going to search the physician directory. Debbie Krakow is actually a friend of mine at UCLA, so I don't mind sending her my list of TB tests. But you get the idea. The patient could basically search for any provider in the country that has a direct address and send their record there without having to ask the medical records department to do it. Now, the Epic summary document that you get from the FHIR interface is not the same one that a provider sees. So it's subject to the usual patient portal filtering rules. If there are sensitive encounters or lab results that haven't been released to the patient yet, and so on, those will not be in the CCDA that you get through the FHIR API. So this is the concept app or template app, as we're calling it. We're just logging into the Epic test sandbox here. They gave us an account to use on their sandbox for this. But it works fine. As far as we've been able to test, it works fine with any FHIR endpoint. Time? Okay.